how should we actually operate this business? Should we use a corporation? Should we set up limited liability companies? When do we use land trusts? Do we want to buy properties inside of an IRA or retirement account? Do we want to use 1031 exchanges to take advantage of some of the tax benefits of trading? How do we want to do things? Perhaps the most important slide is this first one. All y'all are going to be at a different place in your life, have different exposure to risk with different asset classes that you may have. You'll have different types of acquisitions that you're making. You'll have different situations as far as your family, your relatives, what you want them to get or what you don't want them to get. Various charities, those kinds of things perhaps, spouses or no spouses. And all of that just makes a tremendous difference in what your setup is. Now, I don't think you have to be absolutely perfect with everything, but I think you want to make sure that what you've put together is strong and gets done with a proper professional. Meaning, don't buy a How to Protect Your Real Estate Empire course for $97 and think you're square. Things change, things evolve, there's lots of nuances. So it'll be a good problem to have when you're ready to talk to an estate planning attorney. When you have an estate, something of value to perhaps leave for your heirs. So we might want to think about some of these other structures, but let's think about it with a qualified professional, an estate planning attorney, which is going to be very different than your asset protection attorney. Are you set up to where if you make a mistake and you allow your kids' best friend to ride your ATV that you usually use to ride with your son, and your kid's best friend goes out with that ATV and I don't know, something happens and it blows up in that kid's face, that kid is maimed, and now the parents are looking for blood from you because you were negligent and they want to come after you. Things that happen that you wish didn't happen but do happen sometimes. We want to be set up in a way where if we make a mistake, it's not that you don't want to be accountable for your mistakes in life, but you just don't want to lose everything because of some kind of a mistake. I mean, I don't want to upset anybody on here with this, but because I don't think you should really go into a marriage with the idea of failure. We trust you, but we're going to verify. Folks, we're always going to use a real estate attorney for our real estate deals. And I think it's a good idea to use a certified public accountant. Obviously, when you're doing your taxes, get that kind of help. Each of these professionals, they play a different role in your business. There's going to be conflicting information that you're going to get. Your estate planning attorney is not going to agree with your asset protection attorney, and neither of these two guys are going to necessarily agree with your accountant. And you're going to have to kind of use your judgment on what you want to do and weigh the pros and cons. I've never had a mix of any of these different players on the team agree. Think of it like a football team. Well, your best wide receiver thinks the ball should be thrown to them in the end zone when the game is on the line. Well, the running back thinks the ball should go to him. Tight end thinks the ball should go to him. You're all on the same team, but you as the quarterback or the coach, you got to kind of make a selection on what we're going to do. And it can be accommodated with these folks. But let's seek their advice. We'll make decisions based on our own individual assessment of risk and rewards. Okay, limited liability companies. They're a basis of what we do. I don't think that you need to have an individual LLC for every single property that you own, although that does mitigate risk quite a lot. Just to tell you, I try to hold properties in land trust, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, but the beneficial interest of that land trust is generally going to be an LLC, and it's quite possible that that LLC will be the beneficial interest of several land trusts or several properties. And the reason for that is if I have cheaper properties, I don't want to create a whole new LLC just to hold like a $300,000 property. Maybe you set up an amount of market value, like each LLC can have no more than $1 million of property in it. That way, if the LLC screws up and they come after all the the things that are owned by that LLC, you're only at risk for like that amount of money. So you could have 10 properties that amount to $1 million in one LLC, or one property that amounts to $1 million in a single LLC. Again, it just depends on your situation. These LLCs are super easy to set up. Okay, you can do this online. This is why it cracks me up when people are like, I'm in business, I got my LLC. Well, I could do that in 5 minutes while we're on the phone right now. While I'm talking to you, I could be setting up an LLC if I wanted to. But the question is, should you really do that? Do you just want to go online and set one of these up like Legal Wiz? I don't think so. My opinion is it's worth it. You're going to pay more money, anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000. I have an actual asset protection attorney, an estate planning attorney to actually structure a plan for you, talk it through with you, and give you official entity binders. for the various LLCs that you'll set up for whatever you intend to do or wherever you are and you need to restructure things. So yeah, you can set up an LLC for $100 online. Your choice, but you can see I put your $$ on the line. Y'all seen the phenomenon known as sketch? I can't believe how many sketch reels I'm being fed on a daily basis. Anyway, I like his style. Mostly because there was a UNLV, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, basketball game. A kid went to school with one of my kids and he plays on UNLV. And you can see him walking off the court going, "That's a win, brother." Some of you know what I'm talking about. A lot of you don't know what I'm talking about. All right. Now, why do we need an LLC? And or, right, you might want to overlay things, or you might want to have as the basis a corporate structure like an S Corp or a C Corp. The main reason to set up LLCs in the first place is not because, some dude told you to do this. It's because we want to limit or mitigate our risk in doing business to the assets that are owned by that entity, the LLC or the corporation. We don't want our personal wealth, our personal assets at risk of loss because of the business dealings of our LLC or corporation, which is going to be doing the buying and selling of real estate. There's things that can go wrong in real estate. You don't want to put your personal wealth at risk. Now, if we just go out and buy and sell in our own name and our spouse's name, which makes no sense, and we start doing business in that manner, we're taking on risks that are unnecessary. Why do I say don't buy properties in the name of you and your spouse? Because you just doubled your risk. Just put one name on the deed. Preferably shouldn't even be your personal name. It should be an entity, one of these ones that I'm trying to structure. Otherwise, you are putting your personal wealth beyond the house on the line. Yeah, I have insurance for the house. I might have an umbrella policy, but if you make a really bad mistake, something really bad happens, and you get like $100 million judgment, you'd have to really screw up. They're going to blow right through that insurance policy, blow right through just about everything that you own, because it will be taken from you if you get a judgment that big. You want to have things separated, and you want to keep your personal wealth as far away as possible from what you're doing as a business. We're not just covering up our personal choices with a corporate veil, because that can be pierced, right? So we want to set things up properly, and you do that with either a corporate structure, an LLC, a combination of the two. Again, it's going to totally depend. We could not possibly go through every nuance of everybody's financial situation. This is why you get the professional help. I can make recommendations of people who can do this all around the country if you're in that position. But you don't want to get my recommendation unless you have something to lose, right? Because you're going to have to pay these guys. So let's make sure that you're insulated to a great degree from business situations that could potentially compromise you personally. You don't want that. Now, there are tremendous tax benefits to operating in an entity, such a corporation or LLC. And the decisions on how to structure those, again, are going to be best dealt with through a professional.